However, because of recent rulings here at the Supreme Court, Texas may just be allowed to enact this idea, and other states may follow. Religion. Maybe you believe, maybe you don't, but signs of faith of some kind can generally be found in most communities. Of course, there have always been some limits. The Constitution, after all, says the country should not establish an official religion. Well, this year, the state of Texas is testing those limits. A bill has passed the state Senate to put the 10 Commandments in every public school classroom. It could become law, pushing the debate over what's acceptable to new levels. That idea just a few years ago would have been deemed by many unconstitutional, a bridge too far. However, because of recent rulings here at the Supreme Court, Texas may just be allowed to enact this idea, and other states may follow. Let's get you caught up on what's happening. For context, the phrase separation of church and state does not appear in the Constitution. Thomas Jefferson coined the phrase in an 1802 letter. Even so, the Supreme Court over the last 50 years or so has generally always put some restrictions on faith. In the 1960s, justices said praying in public schools was unconstitutional. In the 1970s, the Supreme Court established what's known as the Lemon Test from the case Lemon v. Kurtzman. Justices then said public actions can't overly emphasize a faith, and at the time rejected public funding for private religious schools. But the justices that established that are not the justices on today's court. In fact, last year, many legal scholars believed the Lemon Test was essentially overturned when they ruled a public school football coach could pray privately after football games. As a result, conservatives appear poised to push the limits of what the Supreme Court will now allow. And it comes as fewer Americans are actually believing in God, fueling this controversy. In 1967, 98% of the country believed, and that number changed very little over the years. Last year, though, Gallup reported a drop, with 81% of the country believing. Those who don't now make up around 1 in 5 Americans. Joe St. George, Scripps News, Washington.